fitting thing right now.
Could be. Take 2.
All right.
Technical difficulties. So much fun to deal with.
Yeah.
What's up,
What's my name?
everybody?
What's
That's
going on?
Tucker. Since he forgot what his name is.
Well, no. I've just had a musical stuck in my head for the last week since that's what we decided to do.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is what I'm going to say. And it was funnier in my head,
are you
as 99% of the things that come through my head are.
Mine too.
I'm
So
like,
what you're
that's
saying
hilarious.
is you saw an opportunity,
Yes.
but you were not going to throw away your
Shot.
shot.
Fantastic.
That's it. It's over.
And this is the segue to figure out one of the multitude of things that we're going to be talking about today. We got some things.
Fun week. Lots to be done.
Yes.
And, watched a couple of movies.
Watched a couple of movies. We got some...
She's going to keep repeating what I have to say.
I know. I guess that's my thing today.
Are we playing the repeater right now?
No, I don't know why. I was just like, we are. I think that's what I'm meaning by
Saw
it.
a
But
movie?
we did see a movie.
So, anyway.
Yeah. What's going on?
Just like we finally saw Hamilton.
We did. You saw it prior to me seeing it.
Yeah.
And I think you were kind of intrigued to see what I was going to think of it.
Well, I'll just... No insults. No insults at all
Yeah.
here. I knew that if there was one of us who would be more likely to enjoy a musical, it would be me.
Okay. Interesting thought.
Given my background in performance art, theater, music, all of that.
And my lack of.
And your complete and utter lack
of any kind of skill.
Anything resembling talent.
Zero talent. When
I saw it, I was like, I didn't even know if I was going to bring it up to you. To like, hey, check this one out.
No, we had been wanting to see it for quite some time. And luckily, I guess, because you had come over. This is my full plug of things that had happened during the week.
Yeah.
But it was my birthday this last week.
It was.
But you were nice enough. You popped by my casa, and we were kind of talking about it. You had just watched it, I think, the night before or anything, and you were kind of like, yeah, it was good. And I got the impression, I'm like, I don't know if you were a fan of it or whatever, but my kids had been wanting to watch it. I had been wanting to watch it. We had heard the hype.
Right.
But luckily, I was just talking with my wife enough about it this morning that we didn't see anything on it or hear the music, shockingly enough. I had not heard one of the songs.
I gotcha.
Knowingly. Maybe I heard it somewhere, but not knowing what it was from.
Okay.
But just was like, okay, I'm a huge history buff and everything like that, and I don't dislike musicals, but I'm not a huge... Listen, if I lived in New York, I don't think I'd be one of those, hey, we're going to go to Broadway.
Yeah. I enjoy a good musical from time to time.
Right.
But I'm not like a super fan.
Yeah.
My favorite musical is probably Sweeney Todd.
Okay.
Right, so I appreciate it. The music has to be amazing. The story has to be compelling.
Right.
And
And
like I don't do show tunes. Like you couldn't pay me enough money to watch Cats or anything like that.
What I know of Cats and Jersey Girl, in all actuality, came from, or I said Jersey Girl.
You meant Jersey Boys, yeah.
Well, no. I meant
everything you know
from Cats and Sweeney Todd came from the movie Jersey Girl.
Okay, I got you.
Is what I was trying to emphasize. I've never seen Cats. I know the song Memories and everything like that.
Sure.
But again, like when they came out with the Cats movie that was a total train wreck, I had no desire to go see it just
other than to witness
the train wreck. But I don't know anything about I know it's about cats.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And
I don't know a thing about the story.
Right, and Sweeney Todd, I know enough about the story and stuff like that, but I didn't see the movie with Johnny Depp either. So,
which was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to watching it I would watch Sweeney Todd before Cats any day of the week.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of like, okay, musicals, I'm not there. Like, I'm like, okay, I don't hate them, but just they're kind of like the other spectrum of scary, scary movies. Okay, great.
They exist, and I'm glad people appreciate them.
Right, and I'm sure they're good.
I've got nothing against musicals. They're not a huge fan of them in general.
I love those high school musicals. I'm just joking. It was my way of throwing it out there. Listen,
our headphone amp isn't even working, so I can't even take off my headphones and storm off in a huff. It just doesn't feel as satisfying.
No, but I think we had talked about it that it was it's 3 hours long.
It takes a minute to get through it.
So it was kind of sitting down to it. I was like, okay, I want to sit down and watch this. I don't know, other than it being about Alexander Hamilton.
Right.
I don't know how much I'm gonna. And it's more. I knew the style was more like hip hop and everything like that.
And I think that's what intrigued me more than anything was all right. And I think that's what the big hype was. Obviously, there's two big hype factors. They're telling a historical tale using hip hop,
right,
and all minority actors,
which was
like an all minority cast. So that was like the big thing. I thought they knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
I do have to say, if they had picked white people to play any black people, it would have been hugely problematic. Yes. But I'm not mad about it. I don't care. I'm not.
No, because I didn't ever. At a certain point, you stop paying attention to that. Not that I paid attention. It was never a big deal.
No.
But like, kind of like life. Here's my little Mr.
Right.
Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, kind of like it's the color and everybody's skin in the minority wasn't important to the overall story.
No.
So there's my
we know that
there's my life lesson by Tucker.
I didn't care for one second that they didn't use white people to play white people.
I didn't know that until I was looking stuff up afterwards that they intentionally had done that, and I go, oh,
yeah. There was one white dude in the whole movie, and he played the king,
which was, that's a whole other subject. Like just a brilliant use of. Anyway, what I was talking about,
and it was a play because it was just a play that was filmed.
Right, but there's multiple levels of this movie that I kind of want to hit on. That it's like, okay, I saw that it was 3 hours. I'm like, this is going to be a multiple showing. Like, I'm not going to get through the whole thing.
Yeah.
And we ended up getting really into it and going, okay, cool. We didn't start it too late, and so we went ahead and finished it. I think a couple of the kids were like, I'm gonna drift out, but they've gone back and watched the rest of it. But there's so many layers to this that I've become kind of fascinated with. The making of the movie, first off, it was 3 different...
Yeah, it was 3 different filmings. Not filmings, but they filmed 3 different...
times.
Yeah, plays.
3 different plays. One of them being no one in the audience. Mm-hmm. And so they could get the close-up shots, but just the way they did it.
Yeah.
And adding on to what they were doing on stage, because it's really cool. I've never seen anything like that. There's I'll call it a turntable.
Yeah, they had that big rotating center stage thing.
That added to, there's certain scenes that were in slow motion.
Yeah, and it added some cinematic elements to a play, which was really cool.
Yeah, and I wasn't, again, I'm happy for this, but I'm going to say naive to, I hadn't heard, other than it being a historical tale by Lin-Manuel Miranda, that he had been behind it and that it was done in hip hop. That's all I knew. Yeah. And there was a lot of hype to it.
Yeah, that's kind of where I went in with it as well.
That's all I knew, and I'm happy about that though, because
I knew there was a rabid following.
Right.
And
so it was kind of like, let's see what the big deal is, but I didn't know. Coming from we're kind of cinema geeks and camera tricks and everything. We talk about that a lot, and them to do that on stage with the duels and in slow motion and stuff like that. And then there was how they intertwined, like the music, obviously. But I'm like, there's so many layers to it. But because the music there's mashups throughout the whole entire thing that I was like, oh, that was awesome that they took that song.
Yeah, it was like there was a DJ playing tracks.
Right.
But it was real people singing, and I thought it was really well executed. Yeah. I like that. So I'm not a huge hip hop fan. Right. But I do like when I do listen to hip hop, it's kind of that kind of old school East Coast hip hop. Right. You know, like the Beastie Boys, you know, that kind of stuff. Right. That's the style, that's the flow that I like. I will still listen to the Sugar Hill Gang. Right. Like that's the kind of hip hop that I like. It's a little bit more fun. And so that it was in that style I was happier about it because it spoke more to me. Right. So I enjoyed that aspect of it.
And there was just like these different, like it was mostly the hip hop. Like I would say, like I enjoyed the Sugar Hill Gang, the fun hip hop, like not the, you know, drive by kind of, you know, the darker,
that gangster rap.
The gangster rap. I didn't want to say it, but it was like, you know, the gangster. But when it started to go into more of that style, I lost interest. Mm-hmm. I don't, you know, some songs are okay because they're catchy, but then, you know, but more that hip hop, that fun. I'll say the Fresh Prince.
It's just more of an East Coast style, old school East Coast. Yeah, that's some old school New York hip hop.
Yeah. Anyways, but some of the songs were different, but it served in the function of the story. Yeah. You know, and there's Lafayette shows up, you know, and it's like this French jazz, or no, it's the same actor. A couple of actors play the same thing, but that dude raps insane. But he shows up as Thomas Jefferson. When he shows up as Thomas Jefferson, and he's been in France. Yeah, and it's this jazzy.
Yeah, there was those jazz elements. You know, there was
kind of song. There's like a 90s R&B song.
A little bit, yeah.
Because he had, you know, an affair, or more than one. He had a couple. Yeah. But it's just really cool how they mash
really
up.
Satisfied.
Never really satisfied. That's one of the songs, ladies and gentlemen. But I was just like, I keep on going back to it because I was like, that was really cool how they did this and this and this, and yeah.
And what I like about the whole thing, I enjoyed it. At first, it took me a little while to really get into it. Yeah. Because the lyrics drive the story. Mm-hmm. For me, I've got some minor hearing loss in both my ears. I stood too close to big speakers with no hearing protection on many, many times, and
that's the lesson.
And
kids.
It takes its toll. So turn down your headphones, kids.
That's it. That's like.
But so I have some hearing loss in both ears. It's worse in my left ear than it is in my right ear, but because the lyrics drive the story, I definitely had to watch it with the captions on. Right. So I was reading it as it was going on, and I enjoyed the story, and I like that it kind of propelled me back into a study of history. You know, it kind of reignited a little bit. It's like, you know what? I kind of want to learn more about that thing. Right. You know, and then that sends you down some different rabbit holes, and it gets you away from just, you know, let's be honest, a lot of the stuff that we fill our minds and our time with is just meaningless garbage.
100%.
You know, so it took me down my YouTube algorithm is different this week than it was last week.
As is mine. Mine is filled with a lot of Hamilton.
Yeah, well, and just more stuff. You know, U.S. history, right, and all of that, and so it was cool.
But yeah, like, and I liked. This is my own personal opinion, and I'll try and because of a spoiler. Yeah, things happen. I don't know, but I liked, in my own personal opinion.
Did you know that he dies in the end?
Yeah, I know, right? Everybody does. But there was kind of a twist at the end that I was like, I keep on being fascinated with, and I'm like, was it about him?
Right.
Was the story
really about him.
Because they do a twist at the end that I was like, whoa, like that was awesome. How you go back and you look at the whole entire thing and you go, was it all about him?
Well, and that's he
was a character,
he was an integral part of the story, but was the story really about him?
Right. And then you look at the name of the play, it could be perceived, and that's my own personal opinion. I don't know if
well, just
whatever.
I mean, one of the things that I've been just diving more into over the last week is the whole concept of dueling.
I know, what happened to that.
Well, because I don't know, it's just my own lack of information,
right.
My own ignorance showing on that. I just always assumed that if you challenge somebody to a duel, you meant to kill them.
Right.
Like that was the goal.
I didn't know
I'm going to kill you.
Right.
I did not know that 90+% of them ended in a shoot into the sky, and it was mostly just a show of machismo.
Right.
I wasn't really aware of that. I just, like I said, I always assumed
that it became,
because I please believe if I ever challenge somebody to a fight, I mean to do them harm.
Right. And so it was just one of those things where there was etiquette to it. And yes, there's rule, but
that was actually my favorite song.
Right.
Was the Ten rules. Commandments of dueling was that was probably my favorite song in the whole thing.
And there was my wife and I have been joking around because every day we've had a different song stuck in our head.
Yeah.
And that's also partially because my kids fell in love with the movie and the soundtrack, and so they've been driving around, not the kids, but they've been in the car.
Let your kids drive around?
No, but when we went, we had a little family
15, man.
We had a family thing the other day, and it was going there, and it was they listened to the soundtrack in the car. Okay. And then
cool.
I driving my daughter running a couple errands, and it's like, hey, she wants to listen to the Hamilton soundtrack. Yeah. So I'm like, okay,
I thought it was cool. Again, just tying it into some of that kind of more old school, even though Biggie's not super old school, I guess he was, but the tie-in between the 10 Commandments of dueling and the 10 Commandments of crack,
right?
Was really cool to me. Just there was some it was definitely a nod,
right,
to the Notorious B.I.G.
Well, and
rest
again,
Big Papa.
Looking at some videos and stuff that I've seen, Lin-Manuel Miranda has done some interviews saying that that's intentional.
Yeah,
that the different styles of song were based on that. Yeah, mm-hmm. There is some Biggie when he's singing his name. It's the H-A-M, it's when he does Notorious. Yeah. So there's just so many layers to that it's. Yeah, I was like, I'm not going to break out in any kind of song because, again, zero talent, and as that's been pointed out,
talentless heck.
Oh my gosh.
So, but no, I actually enjoyed it. The first, not even quite half, because it was before intermission.
Which was really cool that they did.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting that they aired the intermission in the broadcast.
It was what, a minute?
It was I think it was a 60
And again, I'm not
but
enough of a music person. I'm gonna guess it's normally a half an hour.
It's gotta be because it's.
I always hear about intermission break.
Theater etiquette is you sit down,
right,
and you don't even they close the doors,
right,
and the doors don't open again,
right,
until either intermission or the end of the play.
Right.
And that's so that they're live actors on the stage. It's so they're not distracted.
Leaving. Right. If somebody's leaving.
Yeah. People getting up and down out of their seats all the time. So it's not like going to a movie.
Right.
Where people are perfectly fine with just walking in front of you every 10 minutes because they want to get more nachos. I don't know, man. I've never been to a play in so long that I really can't answer for that.
I legitimately had a long discussion with my wife the other day. Just be like, I don't think popcorn's a thing, or nacho. I don't think there's a concession stand.
I don't think there's nachos in the lobby of a Broadway theater.
I just can't picture
wrong.
that. But then I'm
been to a Broadway play.
Let us know. If there's a concession stand.
Is there popcorn? Is there, Or is it classier? You know, is there just some sort of, is there wine? Is there, I bet you wouldn't want a bunch of people getting
right.
housed and heckling the actors, though.
Like, is it legitimately like you walk in and it's like you've got nothing?
It's adult time. Dang
like,
it.
I'm just fascinated by that because I'm like, I just can't picture like sitting down in a theater.
Could you imagine? Yeah, could you imagine like because they're acting right in front of you.
Right.
Can you imagine how distracting it would be? People reaching into a bag or crinkling a freaking water bottle.
Yeah. Oh. Or dropping a water bottle. You know how many times that's happened in a movie that all of a sudden it's like. Dink,
you always
clink,
know when somebody like in the back of the theater snuck in a
one of these,
or not just one of those, but it used to be like, you know, you could tell somebody snuck in some beers because you're like 10 minutes in the movie, and then a little while later you just hear rolling down in between the seats.
It never failed, but it's like, can you imagine that in this where somebody's up on the stage performing their heart out?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden the cell phone goes off.
Well, and to their credit, I mean, this is the thing about theater that to me is always impressive. Mm-hmm. Is, you know, when you watch a movie, it takes them months to film that. Right. Which means, you know how many lines the actors have to learn and really commit to memory at one time?
Right.
That scene that they're filming that day.
Right. Then tomorrow.
These guys got to have everything every time.
Right. Because it's how many shows a week?
Yeah. I don't even know.
Yeah. Like
sometimes, you know, a couple of shows a night.
Right.
7 nights a week during the first run.
And it's going to be on, not only that, but the choreography,
and it's got to be on point every night.
Knowing every single song. And I'm just like, that's not my cup of tea. No, like, I just couldn't do that. I don't think. Like,
no, and it's mad respect. I'm not trying to minimize what Hollywood, you know, film actors do either, because
it's a thing.
It's impressive. Yeah. You know, I mean, some of those people can completely transform everything about them.
Well done.
You know, for a role, but there's something that's just differently impressive about the theater. Yeah. That's all.
So no, I was happy with it. I was happy. Then we had our other homework. I watched the other one last night.
Yeah, you snuck that one in under the wire.
I got it.
You pointed it out to me, I think,
like a couple weeks ago.
Like, no, it was after we wrapped recording last week. So
God damn time.
That's when you're like, hey, this new movie's coming out on Friday. We should talk about it next week.
Yeah.
And so
because it stars somebody that we're both a fan of.
Yes. Being
Andy Samberg. And I mean, not everything that he does. I'm huge. Like, if you've ever seen not About a Boy, My Boy.
Yeah, that one was weird. The one with Adam Sandler.
That one's rough. Like, I discourage people from watching that movie. Yeah, like, it's because there's just no coming back from it. Like, not that it's horribly bad, but it's just like jokes happen.
But it's also horribly bad.
But yeah, like,
it was during that really dark Adam Sandler period. Yeah. Like, you know, I mean, where he had just stopped making movies specifically for his kids to watch. And then he was like, all right,
I'm going to be this character.
Now I'm going to go, you know, like, because old school Adam Sandler was funny and he was crude, but he was never vulgar.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And then
he
went like super mild. Right. And he made like Click and Jack and Jill.
And
Grown Ups was almost back to old school Adam Sandler, but he had grown up a little bit, obviously. So it wasn't, you know, I mean, dude, Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison, Adam Sandler, he's juvenile.
Right.
Because he was a young dude and that made sense.
Right.
So in Grown Ups, he was still kind of crass and still kind of crude, but he was an adult about it.
Right. He was a parent in the movie.
Yeah. But then he made a few movies where he's just like,
He just didn't care.
Going
see,
off
I
the
see the
rails.
beginning of that being like Little Nicky.
Well, but
Little
Little Nicky
Nicky's
came
good-
before all of this, though.
Right, but
Little
I
Nicky came at like the end of the juvenile period.
Right, but I
before
remember
he
seeing
went into kid-friendly stuff.
Little Nicky. I wasn't a huge fan. Like I was like, okay, like it was out of all of them.
I have walked out of precisely one movie in my entire life,
which is
Little Nicky.
Little Nicky. Like it was. I didn't enjoy it.
It was bad to the point of being offensive to me.
But we've had this conversation of there's movies that are out there that are bad for the sake of just being like, or crude just for the sake of being crude.
Yeah.
I was actually scared about this movie that we're talking about because within 30 seconds of the movie starting, I was like,
yeah, I
really?
I had the same impression. I was like, this is what we're doing?
yeah, like I was like, it almost was like, nope. But
yeah,
luckily I stuck with it.
Powered through the first
but we
4 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, the Palm Springs.
Yes, the name of the movie is Palm Springs.
The name of the movie. It's Hulu original, I think. But it's one of those movies that I say, like, it's exactly where it was supposed to be. Like, if I would have gone to the theater to see this movie,
I would have been disappointed. In fact, I don't know that I would have paid for a ticket to go see this in a theater.
Right. It was exactly...
In a normal world, we're dead smack in the middle of summer.
Yeah.
Okay, so in a normal world where
there'd be
Aunt Rona never came to visit,
right,
there would be lots for us to go see right now.
Yeah.
And something like this coming out in the summertime would have been a terrible decision by any studio.
Right. Normally,
this would be this is a early spring type film.
Yeah, I don't even know where it
because it can't go late fall because there's no way it's trying to vie for awards season.
Right.
Like this is oh crap, we have to fill some space between the end of January and Valentine's Day.
Right.
Because it kind of has a little bit of that rom-com vibe to it. It's got some elements there. This is like a late winter, early spring movie.
Yeah, definitely. Because I was
even a January release.
I was going to make the point.
Release.
Like normally, every year for my birthday, there's usually a blockbuster that comes out.
Yeah.
Like last year, it was Spider-Man, so I can always be like, yeah, that's probably what I'll do for my birthday. Like, I think this year it was supposed to be Black Widow, which in a realm of things, but I was like, oh, that comes out around my birthday.
Yeah, my stupid mom had me during award season.
That. There you go.
Thanks, Ma.
Jeez.
Just kidding. I love you.
I'm like, I don't even know where to go from there. I was like, your mom.
Your mom.
But that didn't happen
right
this year. And I mean, it was Black Widow, so I was like, that's coming out. But so it's one of those things of, and I don't mean it as any kind of insult of it is where it's supposed to be, but it is a streaming movie. Yeah. Because I would have never gone to the theater to see this movie.
You know, if I try and look at it in this way, I go, okay, let's pretend that Hulu and Netflix and all these streaming services don't exist.
Right.
Where and when and would I have seen this?
Yeah, I would say that I'd see it on TV when it came out to TV in a couple of years, but I don't even.
But
know.
only maybe. I mean,
because
I probably just based on the Star vehicle, I would have rented it. Probably.
Yeah, it's a red.
Because I like Andy Samberg. I like him a lot.
Too.
I think he's great. I think he's hilarious. I loved him on Saturday Night Live.
Yep. So
I'm always probably one of the few people who will defend the movie Hot Rod.
No, Hot Rod is great.
It's great in the same way that Napoleon Dynamite is great. Right. And it's so I'm a fan of Andy Samberg. Brooklyn Nine-Nine is right now my favorite show on television.
Yeah, I was gonna say Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Lonely Island.
Yeah.
Is just like he did something great. Kind of what. Using an analogy, one of the shows that we've been kind of watching lately, I've said like with like the Total Divas and the Total it's with the WWE.
Yeah.
But and how I mean that is you kind of see a different side of like the WWE, like these wrestlers that come in, And now it's like, okay, you need to take advantage of the time that you have. You need to plan for after the WWE. And what, like,
right.
So you need to be like, what's my future plans after that? I can't wrestle when I'm 60.
Yeah, and no one stays on SNL forever.
And that's what I mean. Like SNL, like you need to get in SNL and you need to, well, not only do a good job, but do things that are going to help propel your career.
You know, I mean, Fallon worked his butt off.
Yeah.
Stayed the course.
His actually,
now
like,
he's doing
dipped
he dipped a while, but
then,
he still stayed relevant enough to snag the Tonight Show when it came around.
One of the best things that ever happened to it.
I think he's great on the Tonight Show. Yeah. Arguably better than Jay Leno in my opinion.
I think so. I think
just because I like his sense of humor a little bit more. He's a little bit more dry, a little bit more silly. Just maybe it's an age gap thing. I don't know. I just never really connected with Jay Leno as the host of the Tonight Show.
I didn't either. I didn't mind him, but I think
I didn't mind him. It just never really was like.
I
wonder who Leno's got on tonight.
Right.
Never once.
Right. I think I was old enough that during the late night wars, that I knew kind of he did some shady stuff. Right. And
I remember that happening when
because David Letterman was supposed to be David Letterman,
be the thing, and then it wasn't, and Letterman got shafted, and then he grew a beard,
and then now
went off the deep end.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he got his own show, and it did better than the Tonight Show.
Yeah.
But it was the late night wars kind of thing that I was like, man, Jay Leno's it's not great.
I did like Letterman more than I ever liked Leno. Just again, I always base it on, do I like their jokes?
Right.
Like, do they make me laugh? Are they funny as themselves?
But then,
and then can they be a decent interviewer?
But Jay Leno did it again because I was excited when Conan O'Brien got the spot because I like Conan O'Brien.
I do too.
And when he got it for a week,
and then
moved to California,
and then they took it away from him,
and it was like, nope. I was like, oh, and gave it back to Jay Leno, who had retired, and then
was like, I don't want to retire.
Yeah, never mind, changed my mind.
Psych.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I'm not a big fan of Leno.
Yeah.
Now I'm kind of coming back seems like because I'll catch like his Jay Leno's Garage thing every once in a while.
He's got cool cars.
Yeah, and
a lot of them.
But that's why I'll watch it.
Cars. Yeah,
right. That's why I'll watch. It's not because it's Jay Leno.
Listen, I'll watch any show about a lot of cool cars, with or without Jay Leno.
Right. That's what I mean. Like
front, behind, or anywhere near the camera. So that's just is what it is. But back to this movie.
Yes, I know we went. Yeah. That's what happens.
Yeah. No. I'm not mad at it. I'm just saying.
Palm Springs to Jay Leno
in the late night wars. So. If you've seen Groundhog Day,
right? It's a new adaptation.
It's a similar type of story. It's people, one person and then two people that end up living the same day, over and over, and over.
It's not because of making like
a bad choice necessarily. But there's different elements, but the fact
they change it up enough,
and inevitably one of them wants to get out of that loop,
right? And so it's a really cool take on it because it's Andy Samberg has been living the same day at
this destination wedding in
like
Palm
Springs. million days in a row or something.
We don't really know.
Yeah, and in Palm Springs, which from somebody like I took a vacation to Palm Springs like a year ago, and it was like 112 during the day. Like that would be hell to wake up every day and be like, I'm in Palm Springs again.
Yeah.
Like, especially for us, like, we love it in our little town. But it'd be like, hey, if we were on vacation and that's when we got stuck.
Right.
When we were in Palm Springs. Not that it's horrible, but it would be at this wedding. It's the day of the wedding and living the same day over and over and over again.
I will say this, and I don't want to give away, it's only been out for a few days, so I don't want to do a bunch of spoilers, but... Right. Because I enjoyed the movie,
right?
And some of the things that I enjoyed about it the most were there was a pretty cool multiverse element to it that comes in. Yeah. That I was like, okay. and here's why was after the movie was over, we had to talk it out.
Right.
We had to, like, my wife and I sat there and we're like, okay, what?
Yeah, the ending.
And we had to like put it together piece by piece and fully understand this cycle.
Right, because maybe we'll
talk. I'll need to explain to you the cycle.
Well, because because
I thought it was a cool little twist on that multiverse.
And maybe that's what I was about to sit there and say, because the ending, there's a thing that happened that I'm like, from a time travel perspective, and that's
I'll explain everything off mic
because I'm like
a little while.
I'm like I'm not sure. I didn't hate it, but the ending
it took about a 15-minute conversation between me and my wife to unravel the ending. Okay. And how all of it puts everything together.
Right.
So
because I was like,
once we hang up the mics,
I was like, wait a minute, that wouldn't be the thing because of the thing. Yeah. But because I'm like, this just turned from a Groundhog movie to a time travel movie. And I'm like, that wouldn't, and my wife and I are normally like time travel movies. We're like, wait a minute. Yeah. We find the
whole, and I found the pieces that put this one together. Yeah. I'm pretty sure. But I'll run it down
because it becomes a rom-com, and I liked them together. Mm-hmm. I don't know the actress's name, but she was in How I Met Your Mother. She was the mother.
Yes, she was the mother.
And so, but I thought she did really, really well in this. I saw them together. And was like, okay, cool. And then J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, good old J. Jonah Jameson.
Shows up, and it's a cool extra little twist. And then almost until the end of the movie, where like his character didn't get a like you think. Yeah. And then something happened, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. Like, anyways, without trying to spoil.
Yeah, there's
his character.
I recommend it. I do. I thought it was a fun movie. It was,
and his character's got a really cool message that I took out of it. Like, funny and just all right, but yeah, really good. And then, do we have to do our in memorandum?
Yeah.
We've had some. I'm like not to end it on a downer note, but
it's been a rough week if you're a celebrity.
Yeah. Some
normally they always say it comes in threes, and normally those are a little bit more spread out. But this week it was like
some were more horrible than other. I was like, someone needs to call Devin Sawa because I think I texted you earlier in the week being like, did the Glee cast are they unknowingly involved in a Final Destination
loop and they just don't know about it?
Because bad things have happened. Like last week it was Lea Michele. Yeah, last week it was Lea Michele with racism that she was being a diva and was had racism charges.
Yeah, she got canceled.
She got canceled hard last week, but this week it was. I'm reading her name because it's Naya Marie Rivera. Yeah, she was swimming and
had an accident apparently.
Is what
everything looks like.
Really bad.
Does look like it was just an accident from what the medical examiners have released thus far, saying
some currents and stuff while she was swimming and she
no appearance of foul play.
Yeah.
And then of course John Travolta's wife, Kelly Preston.
I felt bad because I've been a fan of Kelly Preston since. Listen, Space Camp to the people that even know what Space Camp is, but that's a movie that does not hold up. Fair warning, it does not. I caught a little bit of it and I was like, oh,
this is bad.
This is really bad. Really, really bad. But yeah, like, or Twins. Remember when she was Arnold Schwarzenegger's love interest in Twins? You're like, hey, who's that girl?
Hey, it's John Travolta's wife.
Oh, all right.
Some Scientology.
Yeah, but she had, at least unbeknownst to me, had been living with cancer for the last 2 years.
For a while.
But it was overshadowed by Naya's passing that they had found.
Well, they kind of in the same day.
Well, it
was announced that they found.
They found her body.
And then Yeah, and then Kelly Preston passed away, and then just yesterday.
Yeah.
I've been a big fan for a long. I loved the show Mythbusters.
Yeah.
Grant Imahara apparently just had a brain aneurysm.
Yeah, and he also had the White Rabbit, which was similar to Mythbusters.
Yeah, White Rabbit Project, which was also really cool. Yeah, it had some similarities to.
Yeah, it was really cool. Really, good host of those shows. I was a fan of those as well, and fan of him. And it was, and now it's kind of. I saw a rumor that has been kind of squashed that I'm running a blank on it, but Al Borland from Home Improvement. There was a thing going around that he had passed, but he did not. He is safely at home.
Okay,
but
so
it was
like one of those like. The same
another.
thing about like Eddie Murphy passing away that goes around every couple of years when he dies in a skiing accident, but he's like, I'm here.
Yeah, but then there's we almost forgot about Carl Reiner. Carl Reiner?
Yes.
He passed as well. I think he was in his.
Great, so that's 4.
Yeah.
2 more coming.
It's been a lot lately where it's like, hey, they passed, and
and just remember, even though celebrity deaths come in 3, no matter what they tell you, Ghislaine Maxwell didn't kill herself.
Yeah, that's another thing. We'll see. I saw real quick on that, going back to I don't want to say a lighter note, but we're called
that was me spilling the tea.
The tea. But no, I had seen anything. I don't know if it's true. So doing the digging, the jail has out of respect for her, turn the cameras off.
No.
I don't know if it's a joke thing, but
it's got to be fake.
I swear it looked like an actual real article. I saw a couple of things, but it was.
I will volunteer
to watch.
Now, granted, I know why they wouldn't want volunteers for this project, but if there is a group of private citizens that want to volunteer to play watchdog to make sure that this woman gets in front of a judge to sing like a canary.
Yep.
I will volunteer.
I'll camp out.
I will hang out in front of that prison cell.
Call Tucker and the Beard. We'll listen.
We'll live broadcast the whole time.
That would be amazing.
Tucker and the Beard on suicide watch.
And just be like, oh my God, that needs to be a thing. I don't know who we need to call or talk to, but
Tucker. If you're feeling lost and like there's no hope, just give us a call and we will.
Yeah. But
talk you out of it or drive you to it. I don't know which one.
100%. But yeah, no, I saw a thing that it was out of respect for her in this trying time that they've turned off cameras. I don't know if it was a joke or not, but I'm like looking around, like I'm like, am I in the Twilight Zone?
Like, didn't you guys just do this?
Like, yeah, when the guards went on break,
and the cameras mysteriously stopped working.
Listen, I don't think everything is a conspiracy, but that's one of those things where I'm like, come on, people. McFly. So, yeah, it's been a week.
It has been, and it's gonna be a week. I got a lot going on this week.
Yeah, me too. I was like, we both got to be like, and now back to work.
Yeah, now back to work. Happy by the time you guys are listening to this. Happy tax day.
Yes.
You ungrateful.
I know. Oh, we did have a fan reach out to us after last week's thing. We were not insulting
the elderly
in any kind of fashion. It was quite the opposite.
Yeah, we were just saying, we're feeling our age sometimes a little bit, and sometimes you get injured in your sleep. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know.
Just part of growing old.
No, it's how you feel at heart.
That's right.
And
the only number that matters in life is the one that's in your bank account. Just kidding.
No.
That's it.
Thank you.
We're going to finish this up. It's time to go to work. So until next time, he's Tucker.
He's Beard.
And we're up.